All right, welcome back to the Nightly Sports Call. We got a packed phone line. Seems like everyone wants to talk about Martavis Bryant. Angry Pittsburgh guy just tweeted me, should the Steelers sit to it in Gilbert this week with the bye coming up? I don't think so. As long as they're healthy, they should play. But, you know, a bye week, they can rest these guys. But this Detroit team's pretty good. They're pretty explosive. They got a pretty good quarterback. So I think you need all the weapons that you have at your disposal. But I do think you need to be held accountable for your actions like Martavis Bryant. I don't think the Steelers could potentially suspend him, but I think they're doing the right thing by benching him, demoting him to scout team. I would do it for next week and through the Colts game. And, you know, this is a guy that wants to make plays, but the ironic thing is he's not even going to get a chance to make the plays because of what he did on social media. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to Jerry in Hempfield. How you doing, Jerry?
Hey, Rich. I'm going to look at it both ways. The Steelers, you know, they got this Bryant guy, and they was working with him, but they didn't pay him for that full year, so they got him for free, okay?
Well, they didn't get him for – hold up, Jerry. They didn't get him for free. He didn't do anything for him. He was suspended, so that's exactly what happens.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So now he's not happy, and you bench him and you put him on his practice squad, you're going to make him a little bit more angry, I think.
Exactly. But maybe there's a lesson to be learned here, though, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think he's going to say when he got another 2 years, I believe his contract, whatever, he's going to go. He's not going to sign with them. So why don't they just do something now? There's a problem with him right now and the Steelers. They're not getting along. And just to bench him to try to push it aside, you're just going to make it worse. Maybe you're not going to. He ain't going to make the team. He ain't going to break the team. A lot of good receivers have come and they have gone, as you've seen. So it's no big deal to maybe try to move him and maybe get a couple of draft picks or trade him or something.
Yeah, you're not going to get much for him right now, Jerry. Thanks for your call. I appreciate it. You're not going to get anything for him, so why would they trade him? If someone wants to blow you away with a first or second or third round draft pick, maybe the Steelers would do it. But why? Just keep him unhappy, keep him on the bench, keep him helping out with the scout team. It's only hurting him until he changes his attitude. You don't want to trade him away to a team that you're going to compete with because you're only making someone else better if you're not getting anything back. So maybe, play this year out, see what happens up into the draft, and maybe you can unload him for, a pick or moving up in the first round or the second round or something like that. Maybe that's worth it because then he'd only have a year left on his contract. But, right now he's only hurting himself by doing this. He's only hurting his pocketbook. It's a bad move by his agent. It's a bad move by him. If you're not happy, go out, make some plays, and that's the way you're going to make more money. He's not getting open right now. So if he goes to a crappy team and is the #1 guy that doesn't have a quarterback thrown to him, what do you think he's going to do there? All right, back out to the phone lines. Let's go out to Big Will in Monroeville. How you doing, Big Will?
Hey, Richie. How are you tonight, sir?
Good. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Thank you for taking my call, as always. I want to talk about Martavis. I think Coach Tomlin and the Steelers are doing the exact right thing. I think they need to take this young man to the woodshed, and they need to let him sit down and think about his actions. And when he does get a chance to come back, I think he needs to just shut up and play the game.
I believe that everyone, thanks a lot, Big Will, I appreciate it. I believe that everyone deserves a second chance, even maybe a third chance sometimes, and he's getting that. He needs to take advantage of that. He needs to be held accountable, though, for what he did because it's becoming a huge distraction in that locker room. Players don't want to keep answering questions about Martavis Bryant and what he said and what he did on social media, and that's what's happening right now. It's causing a distraction in the locker room with teammates. I'm sure they're upset. They don't want to hear this. They want to concentrate on football. They have the best record in the AFC right now. They're trying to win a Super Bowl championship, and they're trying to win in Detroit, and all anyone's asking about is Martavis Bryant and what he said about Juju Smith and what he thinks about this team and how selfish he is this whole last 2 weeks, basically. So, yes, it's a huge distraction. Let's go out to Bob at Johnstown. How you doing, Bob?
Hi. If Martavis Bryant had to work a real job like most of us do, like truck driver or like a steel mill, and he got caught smoking dope, he'll lose his job, okay?
Yeah.
And he's spoiled. I love the guy's play. He's good. But if he had to earn a living the hard way, he wouldn't make it.
Bob, you bring up a good point. Yeah, any other job, a failed drug test, he might be out of a job. Here, he got suspended. Basically, this is his third suspension, even though it's his third failed drug test because he was suspended a year long, but he only was suspended actually twice because he failed 2 there in the meantime. But, he's one failed drug test away from being suspended forever or suspended for a very long time, kind of like Josh Gordon. So why would a team want to give up a first or a second or even third-round draft pick and take a chance on a guy that might slip up and might fail a drug test? Who knows? He says he has his life turned around, but he said a lot of things before, and now look what's happening, and all the drama surrounding the Steelers has been about Martavis Bryant the last 2 weeks. Back out to the phone lines. Let's go out to Dave in Bell Vernon before we go to break. How you doing, Dave?
Yeah, how you doing, Rich?
Good, thanks for calling.
I'm going to take the other side. I'm going to take his side.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because
tell me why.
The other guys that complain, and I know you guys are calling these they earned that, but they did get, if you remember, Brown cried, he got 19 throws.
Yeah.
Bell cried, he carries the ball all the time.
Yep.
So if I'm neutral, I'm on the team. I'm going to say I'm going to raise some cane. I'm going to get something to happen here. I mean, I'll just put myself in his shoes.
I don't know. I mean, what's the saying?
I can't see why you can't see that.
The squeaky wheel gets oiled. Yeah,
exactly.
I get that, but you got two better players ahead of you. I understand he wants the ball more, but maybe whine a little bit in a different way. Don't do it like he did, calling out a teammate, asking to be traded. I mean, he went about it the total wrong way. You saw, a lot of people were upset with what Antonio Brown did by throwing a Gatorade cooler. Well, Antonio Brown's a star on the team. He is maybe their second best player on offense behind Ben. I always think Ben is the MVP. He makes that offense go. Antonio Brown would not be what he is without Ben Roethlisberger. He made it stink because he wants the ball. Ben gives him the ball. He wants to make his receiver happy. Le'Veon Bell, he's looking for more money next year. He's looking for a contract. He might be the best asset you have on that team. Any one of these three you can make an argument for. The guy's the best running back in the NFL. You got to learn to give him the ball because when Ben throws the ball too much, the Steelers lose. So they have the right combination. Martavis Bryant is just a player that should be able to get open because Antonio Brown demands triple and double coverage sometimes. He's a guy that should be catching all kind of balls. It seems like the perfect recipe, but he's not happy. We got to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls and some of your tweets coming up next. Bye.